Hi, everybody. Welcome to week 27 of the Bible Together reading program here at First Christian Church in Jefferson City, Missouri. This week, the readings contain one of my favorite books of the Bible, Ecclesiastes. I know that is probably not what most people would expect because that particular book does not have a reputation for being the most cheerful reading. It's a book that does not hand us easy answers. Instead, it asks us uncomfortable questions that have a way of lingering long after we've finished reading. And one of those questions is this: what are we spending our lives chasing? And what will we actually have when we finally catch it? Traditionally, Ecclesiastes is connected with King Solomon. And that is especially interesting because this week we also read about Solomon at the height of his reign. First Kings describes incredible wealth, international influence, wisdom beyond compare, and every outward sign of success. The author almost piles up the details until they're overwhelming. Gold and silver and horses, shields and palaces and wives and concubines, so many women. It is the picture of the man who has it all. And yet, Solomon's story doesn't have a very happy ending. The wisdom God gave him gradually became intertwined with the pursuit of wealth and status and power. Political alliances led him to have divided loyalties. His heart began to drift toward other gods. And by the end of his life, the kingdom itself would be torn apart and the majority of it taken away from his descendants. It's a reminder that we rarely turn away from God all in one dramatic moment. More often, we simply drift when we begin to trust the gifts that God's given us more than we trust God himself. When we turn to our New Testament readings, we hear Paul writing to his protege, young Timothy, and he says, "There is great gain in godliness combined with contentment. For we brought nothing into the world, so that we can take nothing out of it." I can't help but hear those words as a summary of everything Ecclesiastes spends 12 chapters trying to teach us. Ecclesiastes isn't telling us that work is meaningless or that possessions of themselves are evil. It's asking us to be honest about what we're expecting those things to do for us. Can success give us peace? Can achievement make us whole? Can wealth silence our fear? Can any of it bear the weight we ask it to carry? The answer again and again is no. Contentment isn't found in finally having enough. It comes from realizing that God has already given us enough. God always gives us what we need. When our lives are rooted in that, success can be received with gratitude instead of grasped with desperation. We can then enjoy the gifts without asking them to become our gods. As you make your way through this week's readings, pay attention to what tugs at your heart. What do you find yourself chasing? What do you imagine will finally make you feel secure or important or complete? Ecclesiastes doesn't ask those questions to make us cynical. It asks us those questions to set us free. Because when we stop expecting temporary things to give us ultimate meaning, we're finally able to receive them for what they are: gifts from the God of all creation, who alone can satisfy. Thanks for joining me this week, friends. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.